Okay, Criterion Collection is back, bitches, with Byron. So I'm your host, Kevin. This is my friend Byron.
What's up?
And we're gonna do a little potpourri of topics today. Little movies, little music, little sports. So it'll be like a medley of things. You just brought up an interesting take about Denzel Washington and Samuel L. Jackson, right?
Yeah.
So what was the argument? You said you talked to some people.
Well, it started at work, and my coworker was telling me between Samuel Jackson and Denzel Washington, he thinks Samuel's the better actor. And I told him, why is that? He said he's more versatile. And so he was telling me movies, and I said, well, I personally choose Denzel, and I gave him a list of movies, and he's like, yeah, but see, he's playing the same character. And I just didn't really understand that, but I respected his take. We were going back and forth, and so
right.
That's
and your argument. You pointed out some movies that are very different, right?
Yeah, I highlighted like Crimson Tide, where it's a Navy movie. He's on the submarine, and then I highlighted Remember the Titans. He's a football coach, and Training Day, where he's a crooked cop. Streets of LA. None of those are the same to me. So
yeah, those are very different characters. But I guess I could kind of see where people say that. I guess I could kind of see where people are coming from when they're saying Samuel L. is more diverse, has more diverse roles, and where they could say that Denzel, he's kind of
stays the same.
Yeah, I could kind of see it, and I'll explain why. Like, even those roles are different. Like, they're different characters for sure. I guess because he kind of plays them in the same way. Like, they seem similar. You know what I'm saying? He kind of, you kind of see his personality through each of those characters, kind of. You know what I'm saying? Like,
there's not enough change up.
Yeah, it's kind of like
a different role, but he's still kind of being the same Denzel.
Yeah, kind of. Like, you see all those characters, and they all, they're all like, even though he was a crooked cop in the one, they all have like dignity. Like, they all have confidence. They all like stand straight. You know what I'm saying? They all have a kind of similar, well, maybe not, like, just like a similar mannerism. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're all, like, confident. Like, they seem like characters, like
upstanding characters to a degree.
Yeah, even the cop,
Even though a cop is crooked, is not upstanding, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, it's still something about that character that's similar to maybe the other.
Right, yeah. Like, they're different characters, but he kind of acts them in the same way, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I could see where people might say that, and not that he did a bad job with that or anything. No. Like, he did a great job with them. Right. But I mean, if that's people's argument, saying that he's like too similar, I guess.
You get where they're coming from.
Yeah, I could see what they mean, because like, I guess a lot of his mannerisms are kind of the same in a lot of roles. You know what I'm saying?
And on the opposite side, Samuel's or not, you would say, because that was my coworker's argument. Like, he changes up from Pulp Fiction to any other movie that he's been in. He's not the same Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, and so the reason for that is really because they have two totally different careers. Honestly, you know what I'm saying? They have Like, that's the thing. Denzel is a leading man. You know what I'm saying?
He has been for most of his career. Right?
Exactly.
I think Glory was when he was
more of a supporting role.
And he won for that. But ever since then, I believe, he's been a leading man.
Yeah, he's been a leading man. Samuel L. has been more of a character actor.
His whole career, for the most part. I know he's done some major movies where he's a star, but
Right. For the most part, he's a character actor. I mean, one of the bigger roles he's had is Pulp Fiction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he killed it.
I love that movie, by the way. And
one of your favorites.
Right? It is one of my favorites, for sure. To me, I think it's the best. It's the best film of the '90s.
That's
honestly.
A strong statement, because there's a lot.
Yeah.
But it's up there for sure.
Yes. It's not necessarily my favorite movie of the '90s, but I have to say it's the best because it's overall impact.
The way of the impact,
The impact and the fact that it made money. Because there are other movies I like from that era, but they didn't make as much money as Pulp Fiction. You know what I'm saying?
That's the reason why you still crown.
Because it combined the artistry with the commercial side.
And the success money-wise from it, right?
Yeah, so that people couldn't deny that fact. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, like, that is, even though he's one of many actors in that movie, he plays a very big part, maybe the most important part of the movie, you know?
I would say so.
And he kind of carries it.
Right.
And that was like his first really big role. He was kind of even more of a character actor. He was like getting bit parts up to that point. Like in Coming to America, he has a bit part. But even in that one little piece of Coming to America, he's different. Like he's scary. He's like kind of, you know.
That Rob scene was iconic.
Yeah, it was a comedy movie, but he was like the serious one in the movie. He was like scary.
Not playing games in that scene at all.
Yeah, he saw Eddie Murphy and he's like, "Who's this motherfucker?" He says that right there.
He played that role all the way to the T.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're a character actor, you get to be more versatile. You know what I'm saying? Right. You get to play different parts. You're not expected to, have to carry the movie every time. Even though he's done that, like I said, and like you said with Shaft, and Pulp Fiction mainly, I would say. Right. And he's done other movies where he was the lead, but they weren't that big of movies. They didn't get that successful.
Right. He does better when he's probably playing a side character.
Yeah,
his movies have been versus the main guy.
Exactly, yeah, and I think it's because he does so many films and he's played so many parts as a character actor. That's why people think of him like he's so diverse. You know what I'm saying? When it's really that's just the nature of his role. If he was doing more leads, he probably would. You would see more similarities. You know what I'm saying?
Equate to a Denzel.
Yeah, exactly.
I see what you're saying. So their career paths are different. So it's hard to.
Yeah. You can't really compare them in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's almost not fair.
Yeah.
Compare Denzel to another person who's like the same as him.
Right.
He plays a lot of main characters and has the same mannerisms.
Exactly.
Compare him to him versus someone who.
Yeah.
It's apples and oranges. They're different.
Yeah, like if you compare Tom Hanks with Denzel in a way. You could say Hanks is the same guy in every movie, or you could say that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's only done a few stretches, I guess.
Right.
Or Brad Pitt or Leonardo. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Some of these
guys. Yeah, I mean, no, people definitely say that about Tom Cruise. Like, especially now, they're just like, all he does are explosion movies. Yeah, exactly.
Mission Impossible, like, what is it, 15?
Yeah, exactly. And this is supposedly the last one, which I don't really buy. Right. But, that's a perfect example. Tom Cruise, he's totally pigeonholed as just an action dude. You know what I'm saying?
And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's his staple. Like, when you think of him, that's what you're going to think of. Even though he'll do dramas and some other kind of, like, maybe, thriller type movies, and even, Interview with the Vampire, semi-horror. Right. But he's known for the action.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just the nature of the beast. It's like comparing, LeBron or someone who's the lead on the team with a role player. You know what I'm saying? They have two totally different roles. Right. You can't even compare the two. You know what I'm saying?
It's night and day.
Like, this is like I'm going to give you another good analogy. It's like saying Andre Iguodala is a better player than Curry or something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, that's obviously not the case, even though Iguodala was like finals MVP that one year or whatever. Right. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the closest thing he can say to that was he did kind of carry the Sixers a little bit. I think when Iverson left.
Right, yeah.
So he played that role a little bit, but Curry's played that role way longer. And he has, more on his resume than Andre Iguodala. So, yeah, it's, like you said, he did take the Finals MVP, which people even question that, even though he did a good job.
Right.
How can Curry be as good as he is and only have one Finals MVP?
Yeah,
we already know Durant got the other two, and then he got the fourth.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's, I think, why they bring up that argument, like as far as Denzel seeming
I get it now.
to do similar
now
roles.
You said that, I get more of it now.
Yeah.
So I think the comparison. You can compare them to, but it's almost like you shouldn't because of what you just said.
Yeah.
They're not the same kind of actor, and their careers are different. So it's better just to team up with two different actors, not those two.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's partially why. So I don't know if you knew this, because I didn't know. So they actually wanted Denzel to play the part of the black guy in Terminator 2. The guy who, like...
The black dude?
Yeah, the black dude. They wanted Denzel, because it was like...
They felt he fit.
Yeah, like Denzel is known, you know what I'm saying?
At that time, he was coming up still, or he was known, but...
He was,
he was getting more known as he was going, but he was already known. I'll give him that.
That was like 91, when they shot that, or whatever. Yeah. So, I guess they asked him, after the fact, a journalist talked to Denzel, and they're like, hey, like, we heard you were gonna do this part in Terminator 2, but you turned it down, or whatever. and he was like, "Well, yeah." He's like, "I turned it down just because it just felt like I was just breathing heavy and scared the whole time." That's what he said. That's why he turned it down.
Oh, like the role that
Yeah, yeah, like there wasn't much to it, I guess, is what he was trying to say.
He wanted more out of that.
Yeah.
If he was going to be in the movie, he wanted a character that did more.
Right. Yeah. Whereas that role, honestly, Samuel L. could have done it, you know what I'm saying?
He probably would have nailed it, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, but, I mean, maybe Samuel L., they didn't even think of him because he probably wasn't even that known. He was probably even less known than Denzel at the time. Also, you know, Samuel L., he kind of seems a bit more intimidating, too. You know what I'm saying? Like, the guy in this movie, he kind of gets jerked around a lot and kind of, you know, he gets intimidated by Linda Hamilton and Arnold, you know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So, it's kind of hard to see Samuel L. in that type of position, you know what I'm saying? Because he is a, like, imposing presence.